haven't done a video in a while, and in truth, I haven't planned this. This is just something I thought of while I was driving along. I drove down to Arizona. I'm going to be living here from now on, from Massachusetts. I went through some, what I thought was mental illness last year, and again recently. And I wanted to read, while I was in the bin, as I call it, I wanted to read some, I wrote a lot about what happened to me, and I want to start, so yeah, this is a video, but I'm going to be reading what I wrote. It starts from last year, just before I got put into the loony bin. Okay. I plowed through the gate, bending the post in the process. I plowed through the chairs, the pool chairs, into the pool. This was with my husband's convertible Jag. I only made it up to the door, so I got out of the car and tossed the keys into the pool. That's how I lost my license. I guess I can see why, looking back, but I don't look back and see that I was crazy. I just see it as a disgruntled wife and mother trying to get back her zest for life and what makes me me. I continued therapy with a counselor and a psychiatrist when I got out of the bin. I was still taking medication, but I hated the way it made me feel, just disconnected from everything and lacking feelings of happiness or sadness. I just felt flat, and damn it, I still thought about Chief, or Russell-J. Gould, whose ever spirit was haunting me, and I continued to secretly love him. I gained a ton of weight, maybe 40 pounds, and I wasn't doing much except for homeschooling my son. I didn't have any interest in anything else because of the medication. Fortunately, I could still talk to my friend Kim about it, about the postmaster stuff. Talking to her made me feel like it was okay to at least think about Russell, and it was okay to still feel what I felt, though the feelings were muted because of the medicine and the weight. I didn't think there was a connection anymore because I didn't feel any of the touches. I'll talk more about the touches later. The next several months were a blur, just feelings of low confidence and people tiptoeing around me and asking me how I was doing. It was awful, just scraping by, wishing I could feel those amazing love feelings I had for Russell. I talked to my counselor and about Chief. I told her I didn't want to be crazy and that I had those feelings, but I kind of fibbed a little bit to her and said they were for mankind. So, big deal. At the end of May of 2023, I got my license back, but my mood did not pick up like I thought it would. I was afraid to drive because it had been so long, 9 months, and my confidence was still in the toilet. Every day I tried to drive a little bit, and eventually I could drive on the highway. I thankfully got a new psychiatrist in June, and by mid-July, he took me off of the antipsychotic drug. He thought I was misdiagnosed, and he was not willing to diagnose me he was only willing to diagnose me with adjustment disorder, which was fine by me because I still think it was the lack of sleep that made me nuts. He told me he was sorry for whoever did this to me, that I seemed like a lovely person who was not bipolar. He did not buy the diagnosis, and neither did I. He told me it would take 6 to 8 weeks to get the drug out of my system, but I definitely started feeling more like myself after a couple of weeks. At the beginning of August 2023, we were in the North End in Boston, me and my son and husband, when I felt the touches on my right toes again. I was thrilled. I remember saying, "I missed you," in my head. At that time, Russell started communicating with me in my head, but I remember trying to communicate with Chief in my head, with Russell, the previous summer, and I thought it was so confusing. We tried it a little bit that day, and I didn't love it, but I was so grateful to have him back that I didn't care. Even now, I prefer the touches over the talking, mostly because people think the talking is nuts. They think the touches are nuts too, but I can't help what I feel. This is the part of the story where I'm not looking forward to getting closer to the now. It's closer to when I tried to kill myself. So it's going to be a little raw and a little fresh still. Sorry about that. I know I'm slow with this, but in the bin we had this pencil to write with that was kind of bendy, so it's very hard to read. It's so light, but anyway, I'm doing the best I can. Hang in there with me. Okay, so the next 2 months went by pretty much in a haze of bliss. Chief was communicating with me a lot more as I was sensing, as I was setting terms for the touches. He started touching other parts of my foot, and I would assign a meaning to that touch. I'm not going to share our code, but I will share that when he was referring to me, he touched the right side of my body. When he was talking about himself, he used the left side. I figured that was because he was more left-brained, while I'm more right-brained. I bet most people don't know this, but Chief has a great sense of humor. Believe it or not, but I can tell the difference when he's calling me an asshole or himself. Even now as I write this, he was the one who gave me the idea to talk about the asshole touch. Only this time he used both sides of my asshole. I guess calling us both assholes. The fact that I'm writing this guts us both because we love each other so much and we trust each other completely. The connection we have as I write this makes us both feel gutted. I feel that feeling in my gut. As our connection grew stronger, Chief shared with me an image in my mind. The image was of my husband getting in a fatal car crash with a bus full of kids. When he shared this image with me, I knew it was 3 years out. That meant that I couldn't be with Russell until I was 55. I figured he waited for me so I could wait for him. I'll tell more about the waiting on later on. When I saw the image, my first thought was, after the 3 years, was, oh my gosh, I have to warn him, my husband. So I fibbed a little and told my husband that I had a dream that he was on his cell phone and he made a bus full of kids crash over a bridge. He made some flippant comment about how it's stupid to ride a bus, and I just left it at that. Meanwhile, I was still spending my days with Russell, making me smile. He used to do this flash of light on my left side, letting me know that he was still there. He hadn't done it in a while, but that might be because I'm in the bin and he doesn't want me to look crazy when I say, oh, hi. He's sweet like that. He always makes me smile, especially when he tells me that he loves me. He uses those touches sparingly, but it makes them more special that way. Even now, as I write this, he's communicating with me that he's sorry for me. He knows I hate it when he uses that touch, and I've tried to get him to change it to a stop and correct touch, but he won't do it, damn it. So while it used to make me roll my eyes, now it just makes me smile and think, oh geez, what did I do wrong now? And now even I've taken to just saying, I love you, baby. He's really such a pain in the neck sometimes, but he's so much more. He's patient, and he's kind, and he loves me more than he loves himself. He would do anything for me, which includes almost exclusively showing me tough love. If you think being Russell-J Gould's other half is a dream come true, you're correct. But he is so hard on me, like you can't believe. Last year, he left a book for me at Wayne's table at the flea market. It's an old book from around 1915. This man meets a young woman and they fall in love. The book is called Making Her His Wife. When I read it last year, I remember thinking how horrible it was, the way the guy was treating his wife. She came from money and wanted to have all the nice things that people with money had. This man made her cook and clean and learn how to take care of her husband and home. I was drawing comparisons from their life to me and Russell's. I thought there was no way that we were the same until now. So after weeks of bliss and the proverbial shit hit the fan, Russell was with me every day in spirit, but not in the flesh. It was time to change that. There was no fucking way I was going to wait 3 years to be with him again, and I couldn't stand being in my marriage anymore. It was October 3rd, 2024, when I was outside playing basketball with my son. I was having the sense for a couple of days that my husband was going to get into that accident and not come home. But that night, he pulled in the driveway like he always does. Right then, I knew I would not wait every day for the next 3 years to see if he didn't come home. I was way too impatient for that, and if I could change the course of his life, this is so hard. If I could change the course of his life and the lives of all those kids, I was going to do it. See, I knew the galaxy was trying to get me and Russell together, but that was 3 years out, and there was no way I was going to do that to him, to Chief. There was just no way. The next night, I told Joe that I was planning on leaving my husband. I told him about the touches with Chief and how if I never get with Russell, I still didn't want to be in a marriage with my husband, Jim. He took it pretty well. He's 13. He told me that he remembered looking at me and Jim when he was about 10 and wondered how we were together. He just didn't see us as a couple. The next morning, I was laying in bed wondering when and how I was going to tell Jim it was over between us. Joe was still sleeping, and I heard Chief say, "Do it now." I got out of bed, and I told my husband that we needed to talk. I told him that I didn't want to be married to him anymore because I know what it's like to be deeply in love with someone, Chief, and I wasn't going to settle for less. As my tea bag in the bin told me, settling is not an option. He was surprised that I would end our marriage for someone I had never met before, but he doesn't know that I communicate with Chief. Jim also didn't seem that upset. We talked for an hour, and I told him that I was going to find a place and move out. That's just what I did. 4 days later, on Chief's birthday, October 9th, I filed a quantum marriage withdrawal with the post office, and I moved into a condo with a woman and her 10-year-old daughter. I packed up all my clothes and toiletries and left. The next day, I still went back to Jim and Joe's house so I could still homeschool my son. The plan was that I would come in the morning and leave after I made dinner for Joe. I made enough for both of them most nights, but Jim didn't seem overly happy with the arrangement. But Joe did not want his life disrupted, so we kept it as is. For days I would go to their house, and nights I would spend with Russell, though he was still with me during the day. See, he's always with me. A few times he showed me what it's like when he's not with me, and it's something I don't care to repeat. Even when he's not communicating, I know he's here, and it's heaven. When I'm closing my eyes, when I'm rolling my eyes at him or telling him to do better, communicating with me, it's still heaven. I love him completely with my whole heart. When I went home each night, I had something to eat, and then I went to bed. I'd sleep for a few hours, and then Chief would wake me up. First, I thought he wanted to communicate with me, but it was more than that, because sometimes we would just listen to music together. he would take over the Pandora station and play me songs from the 80s and 90s, and I would tune into the Bon Jovi station, but Russell had his favorites and he knew mine. And the songs weren't always Bon Jovi. They were, I don't know, sometimes Air Supply. One night, while driving home from Joe's house, Chief started playing songs for me. I was curious how long he knew about me and how long his life had been mapped out for him. I'm not sure, but I think Chief has a galactic contract that he has to honor. He played 18 in Life for me and then wanted Dead or Alive. He was trying to tell me that the banking families have been trying to kill me or keep me from Russell since I was 18. But I also found out that Russell tried to or thought about killing me when I was 18. He didn't like the spell that I put on him when I wrote all those letters to him last year, because it turned him into a fumbling, bumbling idiot. He took the body of an MP that I met at Fort Devens when I had just turned 18, and this MP took me on his motorcycle, and I remember going 120 miles an hour down the highway. He was trying to kill us both. He didn't do it though, and we both lived to love each other. But it came with a price. The spell I put on Russell, on Chief. He knew because of my past. That I was a sex addict. That's why he made my husband not want to have sex with me, and why he cast a spell on me with the Chief Blood Feud video. He wanted me to suffer like he suffered, but he also wanted me to come to know him as himself. The spell, the Blood Feud video. I need to come to learn to love Russell as Russell and not as Chief. So why did I try to kill myself? Because I was too lazy to do the work that it takes to break that spell that Chief cast on me 3.5 years ago. But I'm not lazy anymore. The real reason I tried to kill myself, though, is because I thought that it was the only way that I could be with Chief in spirit, with Russell. I thought that somehow it would get us to the next level, ascension. But he kept that from happening. Just thought I'd let you know the story.